Brown's just got a new pair of glasses. Oh, look at that. Hey, they make you look intelligent.
Absolutely. Something's got to, Rob.
Somebody's just given you a new pair of glasses there.
Mark Tompkins is on the production team with us. You know, we're doing the ISL season 9, and Mark's a commentator. You know, so we've had John Helm over here. We've got Mark Tompkins. We've got Pulasta Dar, who does the local language, you know, and stuff like that. So it's an ever sort of transient, shall we say? It's a transient team that keeps on coming and going. You know, so changes face and changes voice, etc., etc. But it's really enjoyable.
Brilliant. Go on, so you're working for IMG, basically co-commentating, bit of presenting, studio, the whole thing. The ISL, which is a new ISL, isn't it, in a way, because it runs a lot longer this year, doesn't it?
It's a totally different product now, Rob. What they've done is, I mean, I've been here 4 years. I'm not saying for 1 minute my suggestions have been working, but some of the stuff I was seeing right at the start, and I was brand new in season 5, working at Pune City. The franchise got sold. I then went to Hyderabad for season 6, and then I started doing the expert analysis and co-commentary from season 7 and 9, which was in a bubble in Goa. Believe it or not, unbelievable test of how this thing works. You know, the production team were absolutely outstanding. We had booked all the hotels for the teams. With 3 production teams. You know, we had camera crews. We were all sort of living in these bio bubbles in Goa, and 115 consecutive days of football. It was just an eye opener for me. You know, when you see football, you just take it for granted. It's on the TV, it's on the radio. It's brilliant. But what a product the football teams are producing! But what a product the production teams are producing! It's just fabulous, and it's opened my eyes. It's a different angle to look at football from a guy who's been in the game 42 years.
Couldn't they afford a hotel room? They've got you a tent, have they?
It's a marquee.
How camping is it?
I could take
like that. There's Brownie.
I could take you around the pool area, and you'll get jealous if I did that. But no,
I've got to see the pool.
I'll take you around at the end. At the end of it, I'll take you around.
Oh, something will go wrong. Now, listen. So, is it been successful? The new format, the longer format of the ISL.
Yeah, we didn't really cover that. I had suggested longer seasons. I had suggested the ISL merging with the IL, which is almost like Championship and Premier League. There's been financial implications where that's concerned. The IL can't afford to, etc., etc. I've been advocating promotion, relegation. I've been even talking to Igor Stimac, you know, who's national team coach over here, and how to help him. And you know, obviously, I'm now an analyst talking about Indian players mainly, and I'm recommending international players. You know, I think Igor Stimac needs to look at this. So eventually, I went to meet him in a hotel in Mumbai. And he was working on the World Cup, and he was with Sol Campbell. He was with Robert Pires, myself, Paul Macefield. We had a good first meeting, and Igor was absolutely all over the fact that I was recommending certain players and actually commenting on certain things. I never saw that in him, and thanks very much. And I took a further look at him and this, that, and the other. And one of the centre halves that I recommended here in India is a lad called Anwar Ali. He's just moved from FC Goa just today. He's moved from FC Goa to ATK Mohan for 10 crore. The whole deal was 10 crore. Now, if you work that out, I think that's about $1 million, you know. Wow. And that in its mind, it is a movement in the right direction, Rob, you know. But one of the big things I said was, you know, longer seasons. And what they did was, I'm doing a game tomorrow night, and you'd be delighted to. It's good timing, actually. You'll be delighted to know that it's the 2 English coaches going head to head, Adi Boothroyd and Simon Grayson. So it's Jamshedpur versus Bengaluru. And at the start of the season, the Durand Cup, which is a cup that's been around for 150 years, they decided to have a pre-season that integrated the 7 games pre-season which had a serious edge to it, you know. So all of a sudden, you had 6 or 7 games pre-season, and then you're getting 20 odd games in the season. Before you know it, the season's becoming a 32 game season, which bodes well for the long-term future of the product, you know.
Right. I've been mugging up on my ISL. Obviously the Mumbai, which is City, part of the City football group, at top of the league. Des Buckingham, who a lot of British people, footy fans won't know, is the coach. He's just signed a new 2-year deal as well. Just tell us briefly about Des Buckingham.
Rob, he's a young coach. I've interviewed him a couple of times, got to know him, asked if I could come and watch them train. No problem, got nothing to hide. In fact, the product of the City Group, Mumbai City in particular, is up there with the best, and they haven't bought it. You know, a lot of people think that the City Group are just going around buying leagues. They haven't bought it. I think they're 3rd or even 4th budget in the Hero ISL. So of 11 teams, they're 4th. But they're top of the league because of the way he approaches the game, the way he coaches them. They're playing great football. They've got some damn good players. There's no doubt about it. But the most important part where Des is concerned, I was in Calcutta on Thursday last week, and he was sitting in the director's box beside me watching a game, and I'm thinking, wow, here we go. And then he was East Bengal 2 days later, and he was watching a game, and then he was at the Mumbai Arena, and he's traveling all. And by the way, you know, taking into consideration India, the size of it, it's a continent. It's not just a 2-hour flight every 5 seconds. It's like it could be a 4-hour flight across the continent or from top to bottom. So he's getting around. He's doing the job properly. Yes, he turned down, I think, the national team job at New Zealand was recently offered to him. And that's when the City Group snapped him up and said, right, there's a 2-year deal. We want to keep you here. I want you to cut your teeth and stay within the City Group. And who knows where that takes you? Who knows? He could be the next guy to follow Pep Guardiola in 2 years' time. Who knows?
What about you, literally practical-wise? Are you traveling all over the country? Are you sort of studio-based?
Studio-based for the majority of the time. But having said that, in December, I went to Calcutta on a couple of occasions. I'm going to Chennai on Friday this week. I've been down to Kochi and watched Kerala Blasters, and what a sight for sore eyes that is. A stadium. If you ever get a full stadium, it's down in Kochi, it's down in Kerala, and they've had a few English managers. You know, David James managed them. They've had 2 or 3 English managers, but the stadium, the supporters, they call them the Manjapada, and that's the sort of black and yellow army, and they absolutely talk about it, getting a stadium going, talk about getting an atmosphere going. They come in an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game, and they're there, and drums are going and everything. They really get it going. And to be fair to Kerala Blasters, the 3rd top, and they've got a coach called Ivan Vukomanovic, who's embraced the club. I think the English coaches before were a little bit frightened of the fact that this was a big club and the expectancy level was up there with everybody. But this Vukomanovic has just embraced that expectancy level, and the teams are playing wonderful football. But the last game I saw them, strangely enough, was against Mumbai City, and 22 minutes on the clock, Rob. Mumbai were 4-0 up, game over. Very uncharacteristic. They had won the previous 7 games, but this was 4-0 drubbing after 22 minutes. Unbelievable.
When are you going to do the Phil Brown travelogue of India? That's what I want to know. Me and you together. Come on, we'll do Phil's travel with Phil in India, because you love it, don't you? You're totally immersed in the culture, absolutely. Obviously the nightlife, obviously, but you love it, don't you?
Everything about it, I've got to say, I've really took to. Apart from in the early parts, the stages of progress were too small. You know, I'm just talking about the product of football now. But now all of a sudden you're seeing the AIFF. They're actually taking on board everything that's been said. You know, we've got a chief executive over here, Martin Bain, Englishman, who was CEO at Sunderland Till I Die. He's chief executive of the ISL, and he's now trying to make inroads into progress. And well, I'm just saying now, I'm saying for the last 2 or 3 years. So yeah, to improve the product, for it to become a better product, I think it has to have more outside influence, you know, and therefore a blog or a travel blog or whatever. We spoke long and hard about it, Rob, and yeah, absolutely, anytime.
What do you do for a night out? What's a good night out? Do you know all the in places? Are you like when you go round sort of Mumbai? Are people like, come on, Phil in here? Yeah, red carpet for Phil here. Feel like Bolton. You know what I mean?
It's
nightclubs. Oh, it's Brownie. Yeah, come on in.
Bolton in the old days, aye. Well, Coyley left last year, didn't he? Coyley was doing jump ship and he won the title last year, and he's jumped ship and went back to Scotland. I thought he went back a little bit too early, but bring back the days there with McGinley, Thompson, Coyle, dear me, we caused too much trouble, Rob. You know what we're like.
But can you get out? I mean, do you make it a part of your plan, a part of your deal to actually get out and, you know, experience life? I mean, I spent some time in Mumbai, and I sort of thought, I want to get out. I mean, it was bizarrely, as there always is, there was a little Irish bar around the corner from me, which I sort of ended up in. What about you? You must have seen some amazing places, some amazing sights.
Brilliant, honestly, Rob. And it's all obviously British based back in the day. And obviously they've had their independence for 50, 60, 70 years now, which is brilliant for the Indians. And they, you know, the character of the Indians, I always said it, the character of an Indian is his or her, their currency is the smile. The expression on their face is just phenomenal. It just opens doors. It lets you in. It brings you in. And I've embraced that. I've not, I've not looked at it any other way apart from, wow, this is not bad over here. But to get out and about, I had the family over at Christmas. I brought my wife Jade and Monty and Eva came over. My daughter Sophie is coming. She's got exams and a dissertation and stuff like that. She's working towards that, and it's going to be in March. She's going to come out, so I'm going to be sticking around until the finals, and she's coming out for 8 or 9 days. There's loads of things to do in Mumbai, as you well know. Apart from just going in bars and restaurants, there's plenty of that. But there's so much to see in terms of the history. And if you enjoy history and you embrace history and you understand what went on, then it's a sight for sore eyes, Rob.
Did you have to change your management style for the culture? I mean, can you shout? Can you bawl people out? Can you? You know, do you have to? Is the football culture, the mentality different? Did you have to adapt?
The mentality is totally different. I think the one thing you have to understand is that it's very, very into cricket over here. And when I first arrived, I think the first thing I said in my first press conference was, I want the young Indian boy or girl to be born and the family give them a football instead of a cricket ball, you know. Now that is a bridge too far. When I hadn't been on the block 2 minutes. This new kid coming out and saying this about cricket. I wasn't being disrespectful of cricket. I was just saying there's enough sport around, and certainly there's enough people, 1.4 billion, there's enough people around for football to blossom, for kabaddi to blossom, for badminton to blossom. And they do. Whenever they immerse themselves in the sport, it absolutely takes off. And I just think there should be a little bit more investment where football's concerned. And they've just witnessed a great product in the World Cup. And I kid you not, every bar, restaurant, whenever there was a game on, Rob, the bars and restaurant were full. If the sport on the TV, an Indian will stop and watch it. You know, it's almost like freeze frame. Their lives come to a halt and they just want to watch it, whether it be cricket, kabaddi, football, whatever it is.
When you're analysing, you're obviously high profile over there. Do you get any job offers? If a job offer came up in India, in the ISL, would you take it?
First time I did it was when I was in Goa, and I had a couple of job offers from 2 Indian clubs, bearing in mind 2 from 11, but guaranteed they will be 10 and 11 in that division. So straight away you're inheriting a problem, you're inheriting a car crash, but that's life. That's life in football, isn't it? You're not going to just jump into a Manchester United job unless you've got a CV like Ten Hag's. But at the same time, because you're out there and you're talking and you're analysing and you're saying what you say and saying what you believe, more importantly, and you've got Football United as well as the games that you're analysing, where we're talking all things Premier League and all things English football because they want to hear about it. So just yesterday or 2 days back, I was discussing the Manchester derby. I was discussing Liverpool's problems that is going on. I was really putting it out there that the Premier League is a different league. Yes, you've got your Manchester City chasing Arsenal. Okay, is that normal? Well, no. Arsenal's not been up there for a long time. Manchester City are not used to being in second. Manchester United are certainly not used to be at this stage of the season level with Manchester City. Brighton doing so well. Unfortunately for me, Newcastle doing well. You know full well I'm a Sunderland fan. But all of these things, Chelsea suffering, Liverpool suffering, you know, West Ham looking like they're staring at relegation down the barrel of a gun. Everton the same. The whole of the Premier League for me is every game's got something on it. And every game's got a different angle to it from the previous couple of years. So it's brilliant when you can talk football, everything football with Football United. But when it comes down to the Indian Football League, I wish they'd bring promotion and relegation, because at the end of the season, Rob, because there's no relegation, you've now got you've got too many dead rubbers. You know, you've got too many games with nothing on them. And I know I'm sort of christening tomorrow's game as the English coaches' derby match, as it were. All of a sudden, both coaches are coming in a little bit of form. Eddie Boothroyd won his previous game 3-1 against East Bengal, and Bengaluru have won back-to-back games. And if I can tell you just a little bit about Simon Grayson, he's made a couple of big calls in the last couple of games. He's left out Sunil Chetri, who is an absolute legend over here. He's left them out for them 2 games and brought in a young, dynamic kid called Shiva. And Shiva's now running the show. He's about 19, wet behind the ears. He's making his debut at the start of the season. Now all of a sudden, he's keeping Sunil Chetri on the bench. Sandesh Jhingan, another one, he's keeping him on the bench. It's brilliant. So Simon's made a couple of big calls and he's got back-to-back wins. So I'm expecting Bengaluru to get in the playoffs.
Listen, show me the pool. Get out your tent. Get out your tent and show me. Oh, here we go. Oh, do you know what? It's freezing over here. Just flick it down. Flick it down.
There we go.
Nice. You have a good life, don't you?
That'll do for the back garden, won't it?
That is your back garden. Okay. Travel.
To be fair, Rob, I've just come out the gym. I haven't been to the gym for 2 hours.
Yeah, well done. Well done. Listen, I'm going to let you go. Thanks, Brownie. As always, enjoy the rest of your stay out there, and we'll be following it with the ISL with interest, and we look forward to seeing you back here soon, mate.